In the last lesson, we looked at data types. In Visual Basic, we looked at how to open the Visual Basic editor for the first time. Then we looked at keywords which are used in Visual Basic. Today, we are going to look at constants and variables. We shall start with the constants. How do we declare constants? How do we assign them values for the first time? Then how do we view those values? Either we can use a message box or we can use the Excel sheet cells to return and view those values we assigned to constant. Now, assigning a constant, we simply assign a meaningful name to a value. Here, we use the const keyword to declare a constant. Now, before we go any further, consider subscribing as we proceed. Now, here we are going to start with going through the procedure as we open the array, how to open it, what we looked at last week. Now, here we are going to start with the insert and other features. We shall see them as we proceed. We are going to start a procedure. The procedure, we are going to start a sub-procedure and a public. The scope is public. And then the name, I'm going to give it a name as first example. We click OK. Here, we are going to look at how can we declare a constant for the first time. Now, to declare a constant, we shall first of all look at constants can be declared as booleans, byte, integers, long, currency, single, double, date, string, or variant data types. Now, which means any of those data types, you can use them to declare constants. Now, what is the syntax for declaring constants? First of all, we shall write here the simple syntax, which is start with the const keyword, like we said, const keyword, followed by a constant name, followed by the constant name, write it like this, write name with a capital letter, then followed by the as keyword, and lastly is the data type. The data type. Now, then the other end this way, we shall assign the value we intend to display. Now, the constant name is what we are about to see shortly. Then the data type, like we said earlier, the constants allow the boolean, byte, integer, long, currency, single, and many other data types as we shall see. Now, we shall see an example on how to declare a constant for the first time. Like the syntax I've just said, this is simply the syntax, call it syntax 2012 syntax. Now, what I've done here, I've placed a comment. And comments simply comments give a description of what the code below is all about. That's the use of comments. How do we comment? We use the single quote to comment statements. Now, you can do a block comment by coming here to comment block. You get there the block comment and you use it. Now, let us look at an example of declaring a constant. Now, we shall start with the const keyword const keyword, and the constant name, I will say maybe student max, student name, then as a name is full of letters, it is a string. Then we assign it a value. Which value are we assigning it? Since it is a string, I put it in double quotes. I will assign a value which is my name, my full name. Then after this, we can see that we are having exactly the constant name, then the value we have assigned, like we said earlier. Now, after doing this, the whole of this process, the question is, how can we observe this value? I'll start with an example of message box. We shall see the message box as we go on. Message box is simply as I've written it. Then from this the message you want the message box to return. I want it to return student name. I want it to return the value of this constant student name. Press enter. Then over here we have the button of run. When you run it, it will bring the name of the student over there. Now, you can declare constants in many ways. Here, we declare the constant in one line. You can also declare another constant and send const keyword student age as an integer. Then assign it a value of 60. I will not put in the quotes because it's not a string. Now, to return this value, we shall say simply message of student name that, then we shall use the ampersand character, then student age. So, the message box will have to return these two constants. It will return this and this. When you run it, it will bring the student name and the max which was assigned. Now, here we'll be using two lines to do this, but we can use one line by simply using one const keyword, then the rest shall put commas and add them over this way. This is what I mean. We shall put this back on this line, the comma, then we remove this const keyword because it is already appearing here. Then we can add other statements and say maybe student address as still a string, assign the value string, put it in quotes as Kampala. Then we can add another one, student contact as integer. Shall I show the student number? Contact number is made of numbers. Integer shall give the number as 07900 900 300 3. Okay, here we have used one line. Declare all the variables in one line. Simply saying student age, student address, and student contact, and many others. Now, if we are to return all those values in one message box, this is what we shall do. And we use the ampersand character to connect two constants. Then this one will be student address. It is usually better to avoid confusion. You simply copy this name out, copy this, then come here and say ampersand character, control you to paste it there. Then you also need the student student contact, simply come and paste it here and paste it here. So the message box will return the student name, student age, the student address, and the student contact. And so run, saying there's an overflow, the number is too big. Now here is when we are going to dive back to the integers. Now the integer we have used here, the integer itself only has a storage size of 2 bytes. It carries between minus 32,000 digits to positive 32,000. Now this number is far beyond. What if we reduce some of the characters on it? That is 79,000. You leave it at that point, then we'll run to have to work comfortably. There is no overflow. Now we shall also look at the data types and their sizes they carry in the next lesson. Now returning these values in a message box is what we are seeing here as the student name, then the marks, the address, and the number. Then we can add some statements here, and they say my name is this. My name is the student name, the constant we assigned here. Then we shall go ahead and send, and I think the percent is already there. Then after student name, then come here and send, and my age is, then my age is student age with the ampersand. Then the ampersand is used to connect these two words, or simply to concatenate these two words. So going to get the age combined with going to get the string statement combined with the age, so that it will sound my age is, then we'll get the constant value we assigned here. Then shall come here and say, and my address, put it in quotes, according to the string. My address is student address, and lastly I think I need an ampersand code here to connect this to this, then likewise here, and likewise here. We shall see when we run, there's some error, we shall have to come back and rectify. Student address is that, and my contact is that. Then it's saying this same character here, shall add the ampersand here. Okay. Then if we run this, it will bring and say my name is this, then my age is this, my address is this, and my contact is this. Now we can throw these statements to the next line. Let it say my name is this, pick this name, because it is the value we have assigned to this constant. Then in the next line in the message box, let it display something else. Here we do it by using the VB new line. Then I move on space. Then I just copy this statement. Then I come and paste it here because I want the age to also be on a new line. Paste it here. Then my address is this. want the rest to go to the next line. Then my contact. This should be any line. Yeah, see that. Okay. Then we can run this. We'll say my name is this, my age is that, my address is that, my contact is that. And then here when you look at this, it has gone past the window, the active window. Perhaps may not be very sensitive to extend the size, but at times some code can go beyond as far as this direction. Now, moving over the scroll bar, the horizontal scroll bar down here, can be time consuming. Simply use the underscore to drop these lines to the next line. Then I think after breaking from there, we can break from here again using the underscore. It will work just the same. That is use of the underscore. Now here we display these values in a message box. Let us display these values in Excel cells. To display them in Excel cells, we shall say range. Here I'm trying to find a cell in Excel. Say for instance A1. A1 dot value. I'll assign. I'll give the student name to go and sit here in A1. So I'm saying range A1, let student name go and sit in range A1. Then I'll say I copy this, then I just change a few things on it. Then I'll say B1. Let B1 host the student page. Sorry. Let B1 host. I think I'm thinking. B1 host student page. Then let C1 host. Let's C1 copy the student address. Then let D1 carry the student contact. Okay, so we are saying let A1 carry student name, B1 student age, student address in C1, and the student contact in D1. Now it doesn't matter whether I write it with an uppercase A or a small a. Doesn't matter, or lowercase a. All that doesn't matter. If we run this, all these values, I think, shall first of all comment out the message box using the single quote, then and see what will happen with the rest. All these values are here. That is working with the constants. Now, let us now dive into variables. Okay, as you're working with Visual Basic, you will want Visual Basic to store values for you. Now, to store values, we use variables to store values which can be changed at any time in Visual Basic. Now, how do we declare variables? Previously, we have been looking at how to declare and assign values to constants. Now, to declare variables, we usually use the DIM statement, which is in full declared in memory. We can declare a variable in one line, or we can also do it the way we did for constant here. Now, here I'm going to create another procedure. I will not go for a module, I will go for a procedure within sheet 1, and I'll call this second trial. Okay, now I've given it a procedure public. Okay. Now, a variable can be declared using the DIM, that's declared in memory, and you can declare in one line, or you can do it the way we did for constancy here. Simply you save space. Then the data types, they are almost alike to the ones variables can be declared in data types, almost alike to those with constants. Now, let us look at an example. We said use DIM to declare a variable. So the syntax is start with the syntax. The syntax variable declaration. You start with the keyword DIM, then the variable name. We shall look at the rules for creating variable name, then the passed keyword, then lastly the data type. Now let us look at an example of this. Now I can declare a variable. Student marks as marks are integers. Then I'll come and assign the variable student marks a value. Student marks, I'll assign it value, maybe 90. So here we are saying the variable student marks, let it hold a value 90. Like in the previous case, we can expand these values and go and put them in cells in the worksheet, or we can simply deliver them out in a message box like the way we did here. That is just the same case. Then in case you are having, I need to comment this out. In case you are having more than one variable to declare, we shall do it the way we did in the previous case and say, shall not write again the DIM declared in memory, shall simply say student age as an integer, then student address, like for the first case, student address as a string. Student address as a string. Then we can come and assign these variables values. Student age is equal to maybe 20, and then student address maybe assign a value as value. Okay. Then, like I said, you can use Excel cells to standard values, or you can use the message box to standard values. Now, let us look at something here. The naming rules. Naming rules for variables. With variables, you can use a letter as the first character. A letter which means something which belongs to the alphabet. Then you cannot use a space. Then you cannot use a period, an exclamation mark, or other symbols like the hash, the $sign, the ampersand within the variable name. The name should not exceed 255 characters in length. These are some of the rules which should be assigned to variables. Like the first one, the variable, the first letter should be an alphabet. That's okay. Then should not add symbols within the variable name. Then the name should not be the same as the function. Say, for instance, you come and use second trial as your variable, second trial as your variable name here. It is not allowed. Then you cannot repeat the same names within the same level of scope. Say, for instance, you used student marks here, then you reuse the same variable name here. It will not allow, as we shall see in the next examples, and we will meet in the next video.